Welcome back to the Game Breakers podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Horowitz, joined alongside Kamani Phillips. And today we've got a special guest on the channel. Second leading scorer for the Bucks this season, 46 steals on the year. Kaliyah Morales, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good. Was that a good intro?
Yeah, it was good.
I left your assist out, so that's my bad. But I'll let you give a formal introduction, where you're from, how you ended up here at Barry.
I'm originally from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, but I went to school a couple of blocks away at Miami Country Day.
Oh, okay.
So Coach Macy, I think it was maybe my second to last game of my senior year. She came out, and I was never really interested in Barry. It's always just been a school that's been like around. But it wasn't until like I actually talked to her and got to know her and actually toured that I became interested.
You played all 4 years at Country Day?
All 4 years, yeah.
That was where Sammy went, right?
Yeah, that's where Sammy
went. Yeah, okay. Do you know Coach Jules Penn?
Yeah, I trained with him.
I used to train with him when I was in high school.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Okay.
I love Jules.
Yeah, he's cool. So when did you start playing basketball? Like what age?
I've always been on and off with basketball and soccer since I was 6 years old. I started with soccer, but my family like revolves around basketball, so I did both. But it wasn't until I guess I entered middle school that I just only did basketball, and then from there I've just been pursuing it.
Do you still watch soccer to this day, or?
You said watch?
Yeah.
No, I don't. But if I could play, if basketball and soccer were different seasons, I would play.
I feel.
For sure.
Where did you play? On the field.
I played in Pepper Ponds.
No, like what position did you play?
Oh, striker.
Like you're scoring goals.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Unlike Kamani. So when did you start taking basketball seriously? Like you knew you could play at the next level.
Well, when I went to Country Day, it's a private school. They're known for basketball. You know, they had a bunch of national championships, bunch of districts, bunch of state championships. I went there in 8th grade, and it was then that I kind of realized, like, I got to take basketball serious. Those practices were hell. So it was, like, literally unlike anything I've ever experienced in my life. And I didn't want to go there at first. So the transition there, it was really hard for me. But once I got used to it, that's when I knew, like, basketball. It was becoming a job for me.
What's the biggest adjustment from high school to school right here?
I would say the conditioning was a lot. In my high school, we ran a lot. But the running we do, in my high school, my running was a lot of sprints. But here, it's more of, like, endurance.
Yeah.
And it's, like, every practice. And, like, no college does that. Like, you have – I will say, like, when we started playing games, the day before games, she lays off. But even then, like, we have, like, this running drill. We just do it every single practice, and it's, like, it's hell.
What's the drill?
We just finished it in February, though. It's called Running Game, and we did it in our preseason. It's kind of our fault, though, because she, like, let us know at the beginning of the summer what we were going to do, so we had time to, like, work up to it, but, like, no one really did it.
Yeah.
But basically in the preseason, we have to wake up at, like, 6 a.m. every day, and you basically have to run around the lines of the volleyball court, and you have 15 seconds per lap. And, like, in the preseason, we started at 12, and then when the season started, we did 20 laps. So you have to do 20 laps, 15 seconds a lap. It's 5 minutes. And if you don't make it, you got to run it again.
The whole scene?
Yeah, the whole thing again.
How many people threw up the first day?
Surprisingly, nobody. But I remember I walked in the gym, like, excited because, like, preseason, all they told us, like, it was going to be hard for the running, but I didn't know it was, like, only going to be running. So I remember I was excited. I was, like, shooting. I had the nerves, but it was, like, good nerves.
Yeah.
And then she was, like, balls up. And then they split us into groups. And one group was doing, like, the running. Another group was doing, like, core. Another group was doing, like, heavy ball work. It was a lot.
Like stations.
I felt like I was going to pass out. But, you, like, eventually, by the end of preseason, I was, like, in the best shape of my life, even now. So you get used to it.
When you guys are training, you guys do a lot of conditioning. Do you guys go to the gym often, or what's the gym like for you guys?
So we do weights, like, 3 times a week. Or before the season started, we did it maybe, like, I would say before the season started, we did, like, 3 to 4 times a week. Now we do it, like, 2 or 3 times a week, depending on, like,
lifting weights for you to 4 times?
And then in terms of, like, our gym time, usually our practices, it's, like, 30 minutes to an hour in the weight room, and then, like, 2 hours on the court, and then, like, kind of, like, 30 minutes for film. Sometimes she'll incorporate film into the practice time. But no matter what, whether, like, we're on the court for, like, an hour and a half or 2 hours, because it really just depends on, like, how good our practices are, what we're doing, it's always high intensity. And it's, like, there's always, like, some form of running. And like I said, like, in the preseason, it was the worst because, like, we weren't in the best shape of our lives. But now, like, that we are, it's, like, it has become less of, like, a task. And, like, now it's just, like, fun.
What happens in the film room?
Well, she brought, like, we have a film room that's upstairs, but she brought the TV into the onto the court. That way we can just like transition
Okay, yeah, that's
on and
cool.
off.
Yeah.
And yeah, she kind of just if we lose, we'll watch film on us, and she'll tell us like obviously what we did wrong. But if we win, we won't really watch that much film on us, and then we'll just go on to the next team and like scout them. And I think it's really nice because like having it on the court, because like we'll watch the play that like the other team's gonna run it, we'll scout it, and then we'll be able to just like do it.
So it makes like
Yeah,
a
on the
big
court.
difference for it to be upstairs and downstairs.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Rather than like having to go up and down, up and down.
So how is Coach Heather Macy like behind the door? Because I know when she wins, she's happy in the interview, but when it's a loss,
I would say she like everybody warned me about her. I love that lady. I do. It's definitely tough love with her.
yeah.
And I remember when we first lost, because we started the season off good. I think we won our games in Tennessee. We won our scrimmages. Like everything was good until we played our first conference game. We lost by like 20, I think it was, and it was their number one in the conference. So like it wasn't like a crazy bad loss, but we definitely could have won that game. But I remember like I think in the locker room she didn't talk like to us that much, and I was like surprised because everybody was like saying like she was gonna do like this whole thing. And I remember but no matter what, if we lose, the bus ride is quiet. And like that first conference team that we lost, or the first game that we lost, it was like a 3.5 hour ride away. So
It's a
quiet,
rough drive.
quiet. And like I don't mind the silence, but like so it's obviously so much better when we win. We're all talking, we're having a good time. On the way back, I'm texting like some of the people in the group chat. I'm like, I don't understand what's bad, and they're like, just wait till you see her on Monday, because it was like a Saturday game. Monday's gonna be hell, yada yada. And I remember walking into Monday, and like at this point, like I had experienced, we haven't, even to this day, I feel like we haven't had like a really, really bad practice where it's just straight running. Because like once you get used to like the running game drill that we do, it's like really not that bad.
Yep.
So I walked into that practice like I guess a little anxious to like what was gonna happen, but it really wasn't that bad. And I just felt like they were just doing too much. But then it wasn't until like we actually kept losing, and it was less about like what she would do the next practices. Some of them were like worse than others, but like I remember even at home games that we lost, like we'll just be in the locker room. She'll be like lecturing us for like 30 minutes. Like I'm like, my parents are waiting outside. Like, can we hurry this up? Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like they're silent, and she's like looking at you like she's disgusted. Like,
yeah.
It's kind of, I'm not gonna say it's funny. I hope she doesn't want to. But I'm not gonna say it's funny, but it's like she'll look at you like if you just did the most.
Yeah.
And it's like
what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I will say though, like, cause she'll talk about like she'll bring out like the stat sheet, talk about what we did wrong, we gotta do better, and then she'll like, cause that lady's a talker, she's definitely a talker. So like she'll like relate it to something and like tell us a story, and something else, and then she'll like we're not allowed to move until she leaves the room. And then even then when she's gone, we can't say a word to each other, silent. And then even when we lose home games, we're not allowed to watch the boys' games. After.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
she's
crazy.
like, I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the first home game we lost, ready to watch the boys' game. They're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, are we going to watch the boys' game? Like, no, we're not allowed to do that. She was like, we should be embarrassed. Like, we shouldn't be, like,
That's crazy.
can't show our faces.
Yeah.
It was a lot to get used to, but,
Well, the good thing is you guys have won a lot this season, 15-8 on the year. Tell me, what's been the best part about the season so far, and what's been the toughest?
I think running game was the toughest.
Yeah.
For sure. And, like, once we got to because at least in the preseason, it was, like, the way they switched it up in the preseason was we would do, like, an hour, or we go 45 minutes in the morning, then we'd have an hour practice at the end of the day. And it was obviously annoying, like, waking up early, but we would get our conditioning done during the day, in the morning, and then at the end of the day, it would just be, like, skill work or playing, so it would be fun. But, like, when the actual season started and, like, actual practices started, it was, like, we would do, like, a whole, like, high-intensity practice and then end it with running games. Like, you're already, like, exhausted, and then you're going to be even more exhausted by the end of running game.
Yep.
So I think, like, getting used to that and getting into the groove of that, like, that was really, really hard. I would say, though, like, my high school was very high-intensity, our practices. So in terms of, like, playing, I don't think it was a lot to get used to, but I think, like, the endurance conditioning was a lot to get used to. And in terms of the best part of the season, I just think that, like, our team we're very family. And like in my high school, I never really had that. And I always thought it was because like in my high school, he recruits very young. Like the youngest people we had were like 6th, 7th grade on the team.
Oh, wow.
So I thought like because of like the big age gaps,
Yeah.
like, you know, that like really prevented us. Like we wouldn't hang out outside of school, outside of practice. We weren't really allowed to. But like even like coming here, like we have people that are like, our oldest person is like 25 on the team. And I'm like, obviously I'm the youngest person at 18. But even then, like, it's always, like, after practice, we'll have, like, a family dinner. Or, like, we'll hang out at Coach Macy's house. We'll, like, you know, go shopping together, go thrifting, whatever it is. And I just think that since I never really had that family feel in my high school, like, I think that's been the best part. Because it's really hard to, like, stay mad at, like, us losing or or if I play bad, it's like really hard to do that because like I have like that big support from my team, and I feel like I have like older sisters that like really actually care about me. And even for the people who like don't play as much, there's no one that's really salty, and if they are, like, you can't really tell because like everyone's just so supportive of one another. So I am grateful for that.
Do you have a favorite memory with the team so far?
Yeah, our first like real season games were in Tennessee, and I remember like everybody was excited because last year they didn't travel. Like the most they traveled was like a couple hours away, like for our conference games.
Yeah.
But this year we went to Tennessee and we went to Georgia and we flew to both. And for Tennessee, we like went on like they have like this strip in Memphis, and we did like karaoke, and it was really it was nice. It was fun, and I think that was like a great way to start the season because we like won those games, and also we just had a great time. It was like a great bonding experience, and it was like that like definitely set the tone. Like we were close before that, but that definitely like set the tone to like what we could expect from each other.
Who's the best at karaoke?
Haley.
Haley,
The girl Haley, she got that.
So you mentioned your age. As a freshman, it's not oftentimes you see in the pros as a rookie or college as a freshman that they play a lot, but you've played a lot this season. Like I mentioned earlier, the second leading scorer on the team. Did you know you were going to play a lot your freshman year, or how was that adjustment coming into the college?
Well, I definitely...
Come on, bro.
My boy.
I definitely committed to Barry. I don't know how to say this, but like I committed to Barry expecting for me to play. Like I was gonna come if I was gonna play, and I think like Coach Macy from the beginning, like for example, when we would do like the conditioning, she would split it up for like guards, posts, like wings, whatever.
Right.
And I would be with the guards, and it's because I came in not knowing if I was gonna be point guard or wing because I played both, and she also didn't really know. I think she was kind of leaning towards point guard, but she had me playing as both. So I was running with the point guards, and they were fast, man. Like. On the
Yeah,
court,
they've got
like,
a good guard rotation.
Yeah, we do. And, like, they're just endurance. Like, if we're doing sprints, like, I got the sprints. But, like, for that, and then you could tell, like, they trained for the running game. I was enjoying my summer. I didn't train for it. So, like, she would just, like, troll me. Like, even then, she would look at me like she was disgusted at me. She'd be like, the more, like, you don't finish it, like, the less fit you get, like, the deeper you're going to get in the lineup. I just remember looking at her like, if you think I'm not going to play, that's crazy. Like, I didn't come in for that. So, when the actual practices started, like, obviously I showed what I got. We actually started playing more. And I think she actually saw, like, the potential. And I am very grateful to her for giving me a chance. Like, I remember before our first scrimmage, because now before games, she switched to the starting lineup. Now before games, when we go through our walkthrough, that's when she'll announce the starting lineup. Before the first scrimmage, like, no one really knew. Because even then, we never really had, like, a full practice. It was kind of just...
Right.
We had some plays in, we did some motion, but, like, nothing crazy. So I kind of thought I was going to start, but I wasn't fully sure. And also, like, I knew he was going to play for sure. I just didn't know what it was going to be. But I remember, like, before the first scrimmage, she came up to me. Like, it was, like, maybe, like, 10 minutes left in the warm-up. And she was like, I just want you to know I'm really proud of you. Like, not a lot of freshmen get to start, but, like, you've really showed me something. And I'm proud of you. And I was like, damn, like, I'm about to start. Like, let's go. And I was, like, really, really excited, really happy because, like, coming off the bench isn't something I did much in high school. Like, I started the last 3 years of high school. So that would be a big adjustment. Even now, like, for some games I've come off the bench, and she's definitely tested me a bit. But I am grateful for the opportunity to, like, play because I am not a lot of freshmen have that. And I just think that more than anything, like, I just don't want to take that for granted. And even if I'm not, like, scoring or, like, even if I'm not playing the best, I at least want to show that I'm grateful, that to be in this position because I really am.
Yeah, I commented the games, and when I was looking at the roster for, like, the first games of the season, I didn't really know the team yet, and I seen freshmen, and then I think the first few games you averaged, like, 15, 16 points per game. I was like, damn, we're producing as a freshman, so it's impressive. But you also talked a lot about the conditioning, which shows on the court you guys are a high-tempo team, forcing turnovers, getting out in transition. Is that, like, the main focal point of this build or this team this year? Yeah,
she's big on just, like, running and transition, like, transition. That most of our practices are focusing on transition, whether it's, like, our transition offense or transition defense. Like, that's how you kill teams in transition. And when you're the most fit team, that's definitely how you're going to kill teams.
For sure.
So even me, like, something she's challenged me with because, like I said, I played point guard in high school. But the way I played it there is, like, different from, like, how she wants it here. Like, our transition offense is different from here. And, like, she's really challenging us to get the ball up the floor. Like, we all have practices where, like, if the point guards don't get the ball up the floor in a certain amount of dribbles, we all have to run. And I think it's good because it's, like, really is teaching me how to go faster. And she's, like, really, like, showing me, like, my pace. And that's why I think, like, the on-court film comes in handy a lot because like you can like just see it in real time, and like you don't have to like wait till the end of practice to go watch it and then come back to the next practice. Like you can just watch it and then fix it there. And like so I will say like transition and just like keeping up the pace, because like no matter what, we know that we are the most fit team.
Yeah, you can see in second half of games the other
Yeah.
team looks fatigued or
honestly
just
so
out of
tough.
it. So
Yeah, and even like because we have friends on like other people in our like other teams in the conference, and we'll ask them like, so like what are you like, what is your conditioning, how was your preseason, whatever, and they'll be like, oh, like we don't even run. And I'm just,
Oh, that's crazy.
I don't even know that life.
Yeah.
Like,
also with the
great.
shot clock too, it's important. You get into your sets early on and things like
yeah,
that.
for sure.
So talking about your play style, one thing I noticed watching a lot of the games this year was your mid-range scoring. It
Yeah.
seems like you go to that shot a lot. So when did you develop that, and how important is that shot to have as, a two guard?
I actually wasn't until like last year, because like before that my form was, it was lower. So you have to have like some kind of high form to get off the mid range.
Yeah.
So my floaters used to be my thing. Like from anywhere I'd shoot a floater, and it was a really good thing. But I remember like when I was in 9th grade, my uncle, like I would train with him during COVID, like in the morning, and he would always tell me like your mid range is gonna be like the best part of your game one day. Like you just gotta keep working on it.
Yep.
And I never believed it, because like I was so stuck on my floater, and like I said, like my shot, it was just like very low,
That low release point.
underdeveloped. But like eventually, like, and I remember like a couple games back, I like actually thanked him, because I never really thought that was gonna happen, but kept working on the mid range. And Coach Mason even coming in, she was like, because last year in my high school I used the mid range, but not as much. I was more of just like getting to the basket.
Okay.
But now there's a lot of plays where like I'm coming off a screen, or even if I could just make a move and get by someone, I'm looking for the mid range. Now that's definitely the biggest part of my game. And like people try to scout it, and I remember the first game when we played Nova, I think I got it blocked like 3 times, and Coach Mason was like, "Why do you keep using it?" I was like, "That's my game." Like, but I think like I've learned that people are scouting it, but even now they still can't guard it. So.
Yeah. Another thing is the defense. 46 steals on the year, I said earlier. That's top 4 in the Sunshine State Conference. I don't know if you knew that. But, picking up full court is not an easy thing to do. I've seen you do that a lot of times this season. How much is it an effort thing or a skill thing on the defensive end, buying into that side of the ball?
Yeah, I will say, like, I've been challenged defensively this year. Like, in my high school, we played a lot of zone. And, like, I think I averaged 3 steals last year in my high school, because, like, more from, like, less of, like, on-ball stuff, which I think a lot of my steals this year have been, like, on-ball.
Yeah, for sure.
More of just, like, passing lanes and whatnot. But obviously in college, most of the time it's a man defense. Even like our zone defense is technically a man defense. So I think I've been challenged. It's definitely more effort. Like there's some games where like my defense is just not there, but it has nothing to do with like my lack of ability to do it. It's just like straight effort. So like even the Tampa game, that's when I had like 2 or 3 like on ball steals. Coach Mason was like, "Where is this coming from?" And I was like, "I always play like defense. It's just like, I don't know. It's not that I don't like to play defense. It's just like I guess sometimes it takes a little bit for it to like click in my head like how much it matters." And
yeah,
like,
it's hard to have that intensity 100% of the time.
Yeah, and even like I'll throw cause like Kayla on my team is sophomore. I think I'm leading her by like 1 or 2 steals, and I always troll her for it because like she's
yeah,
like,
you guys are neck and neck. So.
Yeah, because she like cares about defense like that, and like she's definitely a better on ball defender than me. But I'll be like, "Oh, like I had more steals than you this game. Like now what?" And she'll be like we'll just like go back and forth about it. Because technically, like I am definitely like 1 spot above her in the leaderboard, so like, I always gotta do like But I'm definitely challenging my defense. Always Coach Macy like tell me what I could do better. That's why she sits me sometimes, because like my defense isn't at its best. But like when I want to, it sounds dumb, but like when I want to.
When you lock in, is there?
Like when I lock in, I can lock in. But I'm definitely like trying to prioritize that as well, because like that does make a big difference in the games.
For sure. I was gonna ask you about the defense too, because you said you run the zone, but I've seen it's a little weird because it's kind of like a matchup zone, right?
Yeah, it is.
Can you describe that a little bit?
Yeah, it's a 55 zone, and like that's a point where it's like it looks like a zone, but it also looks like a man, so it's really hard for team to scout.
Right.
There's a way to beat it. Hopefully, no.
Don't say that. Yeah, don't.
But I remember like when we first started doing that, I was like, "What the hell are we doing?" Like because it's not like as in man and in zone when the ball's somewhere like you know where you gotta be.
Yeah.
But in this one, let's like, it just all depends on like the different scenarios, different situations. So
I've seen like the player at the top will rotate to the whole other side.
Yeah. It's like because it starts off with like 1 at the top, 1 at the free throw line, and then the 3 at the bottom. But like if there's no one at the free throw line, then like the person at the free throw line has to go find someone. And then if there's no one in the corner and the person in the corner is not guarding someone, they got to find someone too. And it's like it definitely requires a lot of communication, which like our team has been challenged with this year.
Right.
And Coach Macy always says that it's like communication, and when we don't communicate, the defense is terrible.
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest thing is talking and staying
Yeah.
attached on the defensive side.
For sure. I do like it though because it's a good mix of like man and zone, and sometimes our man defense isn't the best, so it's good to like be able to mix it up. But yeah, now that we're all used to it, I think like we've definitely gotten better with it. And she's like also implemented like some other defenses. But yeah.
So that's your main call. Do you switch it up if you're going against a team that, you know, it's a better shooting team? Like,
Well, that's the thing. Like, no, and
No?
I think we should.
because who was it? You guys, was it? I don't know if it was Rollins, maybe. One of the teams,
Was
they
it
were
London?
they were shooting the lights out the
It
ball.
was Eckerd.
Eckerd, yeah.
They shot 50%. Even Nova, they shot 50% from three against us and 51%
crazy.
from the field goal. And it's like it's really hard to even just guard a team that's shooting that well.
Yeah.
But I definitely think, I'm not a coach, so obviously she sees things that I don't see. But I do think like when you play a team that can shoot, you don't play them in zone, you play them in man.
Yeah, try to limit those open shots.
Yeah, and like for her, I think it's good now that we've put in like some other defenses. She'll like show them in flashes sometimes. But 55 has just been like our base defense, so I think that's just like the default. But I'm sure as we enter playoffs and like the final stretch, she'll like start mixing things up a bit more.
Is there any time where you guys try to, try to help her in some type of way? But she doesn't listen. Like, what type of coaches does she listen to her players?
Like LeBron in the huddle.
Yeah.
She-
No, LeBron. He will tell the coach what to do, but
It's kind of like I don't know. Like I remember after one game, it was an away game, PBA. I just didn't agree with like the defense we were in or the offense we were running. So like I tried to like talk to her about it, but the conversation just went a whole different way.
yeah, I'm not
And
surprised.
And it turned into like literally not even about what I was trying to talk to her about.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I just kind of gave up. But she is like she's definitely a receptive coach.
Mhm.
She'll ask like the point guards like what we think about some things.
Mm-hmm.
But also it's like hard with like time and place. Like,
Yeah.
if it's a really like high intensity game, she's not gonna like want to hear from this about us. And like she's very 55. Even like because like I said, our man defense can be iffy sometimes depending on the games. And also if people are in foul trouble, you don't want to go to man and then
be aggressive.
take them out the game and whatnot. So. But she is definitely like a receptive coach. You can talk to her about things like that. I just try not to because of how that last conversation went. But
So you guys got a game tomorrow. Is it Florida Southern, right?
Florida Southern, yeah.
What's the predictions for that one? How much you dropping?
Last time we played them, I think we won by. It was definitely single digits. It was a really really good game.
Mm-hmm.
They have a really mean press, and yeah, they were killing me and Kiki with that. I don't remember how much I scored. It wasn't that good, but I know I had like 8 assists. So. Obviously, like, I'm definitely gonna score 12 at least, 12 points, 5 assists.
12? Come on, we need a more bold. we need a more
assists.
bold prediction.
I get 15 points, 5 assists. 15 points, 5 assists.
There we go.
It's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be high intensity because like we beat them in their home, and it wasn't by like that much, so they're definitely gonna come, back for blood and whatnot. But
Personally, do you prefer to blow a team out by 20 or win that game, like a game-winning shot?
I've actually never had a game winner in my life, so I would love to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like, she's gonna give the ball to Audrey. So
Audrey's been killing it this year.
even like when I start, but that's the thing. Like, I feel like there's some games. Coach Macy, if you're watching this, but I feel like there's some games like where Audrey's feeling it, but the way Audrey scores is different from how I score. Like Audrey, like
way
she'll get
different.
the ball in like. She's not gonna like cross you over. They go to the basket and score. She's more of like catch and shoot. We're gonna run a play for her.
Yeah, off screens
She'll
or
get
something.
it right,
Yeah.
exactly, and like maybe pass it to her short corner. She'll body someone a little bit and go score. So I feel like if they're reading the scout, like I'm the second leading scorer, but she's main leading scorer, so they're gonna like look for her. And I just feel like there's some games where we haven't had many where it has come down to the last shot. But I remember like there was a game we had a scrimmage, and we were down, but I was killing that game. Audrey had like 30. I think I had like 20 something.
Damn.
But it was like just me and her just going back and forth, scoring.
Yeah.
And it was like the last play of the game. And we were like down by 2, not even 3. But she wanted to go for a game-winning shot. And I had the ball, but she was like, give it to Audrey. But they literally could not guard me. And like even to this day, I like regret not doing something with the ball because I just feel like I know I can do it.
Yeah.
And like I think like my confidence is what also has allowed me to like do what I do because Coach Macy always says that me and her are like in that way. That no one can tell us anything that's gonna like hurt us. And I think that a game-winning shot would. I mean, I have the confidence that I will knock it down. Probably will go for the mid-range, but I could also go. For the so, hopefully one day, by the end of the season, I'll have a game-winning shot. Hopefully Coach Mason will trust me with
Yeah, it's all just the opportunity and just saying, I'll just take the last shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and even if it's not like a game-winning shot, usually if there's like a last quarter shot, she'll like run a play for me, and I'll be able to do something with it. But game-winning, I need that too.
Need that. So Audrey is a senior, so next year she'll be gone.
So it should
You're going to step up as the number one option. What are you trying to develop most going into next year? I know the season's still going on, but what are some steps you're trying to take forward?
It's like you said about the mid-range, everybody knows about the mid-range. So they're starting to like go under screens, which is giving me like the pull-up three-point shot. I've like been working on that, but I haven't like really brought it out in a game just because I've just been so used to the mid-range and driving and whatnot. So even now, like as the season ends and like everybody, we played everybody, so their scout is like at like the best it can be at this point. Definitely like the pull-up three-pointer, because there's games where like I have it and I'll shoot it, and there's games where I have it and I won't shoot it. I'll be like a little hesitant. So I just think developing that, because three's worth more than two, so more points.
That's the math right there.
That's
Yeah, I was a shooter myself. So,
Were you?
Yeah.
Like catch and shoot?
Yeah.
I'm trolling. I'm trolling.
We would play 1-on-1. I would always beat him.
Really?
But he was
Lying on
telling me
camera
before the
is
podcast. He's like,
easy. Yeah, you keep saying it.
he was saying like me, Kaliyah played 1-on-1, 11-0, 11-1.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. He says it every time.
Right.
So we might have to run that one. We might have to run that one up. But I got one more question for you. All right, what are your interests outside of basketball, or what are your long-term goals? I know you're still in your first year here, so talk to me about that.
I definitely don't want to play basketball after college. I'm just doing this like for the free college and whatnot.
Okay.
Even like coming into college, I wasn't like sure if I wanted to play. And I'm a communications major, so I would love to do broadcast journalism. That's like my thing. I want to be on TV. But I'm kind of thinking about switching that now to pursue real estate after, because real estate is great business. Everybody's gonna always need houses, so
that's
always
true.
gonna be money there and whatnot. So I want to pursue that, and like when I'm not playing basketball, hanging out with my friends, shopping. I love to go shopping, and watching Netflix, listening to music, Drake. That's my thing.
See the new album?
Yeah, I was just listening to
Really?
it on my way here.
What'd you think about it?
It's good. I think Party Next Door didn't need to be on it, but
Yeah, at least not the whole thing.
I love the first song. The first song.
Yeah.
That shit's tough. But I listen to everything else. It's decent. It could have been better, but that first song got me on chokehold.
Yeah.
You have a favorite song already on it?
It's gonna grow.
Yeah, it's for sure it's gonna grow.
Yeah, the Drake album always do.
Yeah, that's how it works.
After a few months or something like that.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Any last questions?
I mean, that's it.
Oh, good.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad.
Well,
that
you've
came
got
in.
the good broadcast voice. You did good on this interview here today, so hopefully you play well tomorrow. We'll do another post-game interview.
Yeah, that's so cool.
But thank you for coming on. It was great. And thank you for watching today's episode here on the Game Breakers podcast. Or this was the first segment. We're going to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl last week in the next segment. And we look forward to more episodes. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the future.